Welcome back to Buckeye Talk. It is our game predictions for Ohio State against Akron, ridiculously being played under the lights Saturday night. We'll see what kind of crowd shows up. We're not predicting the crowd, although there were about 75,000 in the house last week for Ohio State, and I might take the under on that, considering the time of game and the caliber of opponent. No offense to the Zips. Doug Lesmerises not on this video, but he gave us his pick by proxy. He's taking Ohio State 49-14. I should say the line has dropped a little bit. It was 53 when it opened. It quickly went down to 49, and then news came out Thursday about Ohio State likely sitting C.J. Stroud to play other quarterbacks because of his shoulder situation. That line then ticked right down to 48.5 and may drop even more by the time we get to kickoff. But today, 48.5. So Doug is taking Akron with the points. He's also taking the under on the total. The total was 66.5 as the time that we're recording this. Stephen, what is your prediction?
45-7, just based off, you're starting a new quarterback, again, who's never thrown a pass. I thought we were done saying that about quarterbacks, and yet here we are again saying it. So maybe the offense starts out a little bit slow before it gets explosive because it is Akron. But at the same time, I just don't see this defense ever getting a shutout against anybody. So it's a combination of Ohio State has never scored. They've only scored more than 50 points against Akron once, and it was back in the 1800s when nobody on this planet was alive or even thought of at the time. And so I just don't see this being the week where they finally get over that 50-point margin, even if they do kind of hold Akron's offense in check for the most part. But also, we've sucked at this all season. So maybe I've been scared a little bit into taking the under on some things and just going the complete opposite from where I went with picks before. So 45-7, Ohio State still wins comfortably.
Yeah, I was definitely way off last week, and I wish I had done the research that I'm about to talk about before I made that pick, where I had picked Ohio State to win by a whole bunch. Ohio State, with 40-point spreads, I'm getting this from the OddsShark database. Really, really fun site to go look at if you're just into gambling lines and stuff, oddsshark.com. Ohio State, since 1997, which is as far back as it went, has had 10 games that kicked off with a 40-plus point spread, where they were the favorite, obviously. And they are 4-6 in those games. So they failed to cover 6 out of 10 times. And if you go back only to 2015, they failed to cover 4 out of 6 of those spreads. One of those games was on the road at Rutgers in 2019. So it's just hard to cover this. That's just 40, let alone 48.5. So I'm taking Akron with the points, but I think it'll still be a blowout. I mean, I'm taking Ohio State 55-13. So that would be Akron with the points, but going over the total. I think Ohio State is going to move the ball regardless of which offense or which quarterback runs this offense. To me, it's still just a matter of, is this defense disruptive? Does it kind of impose itself? Does it create some turnovers? Is it keeping Akron off schedule? Because even, teams like Tulsa last week were able to pretty consistently stay on schedule all game and put up a lot of yards, even if they weren't always getting in the end zone. They only scored 20 points. But at some point, to really cover a spread like this, I think Ohio State's defense is going to have to really string together a lot of 3-and-outs or really keep them off the field and let your offense go to work. But I also think you're going to see something similar to the Minnesota game, where there's going to be some big plays available for this passing game, and it sounds like it'll be Common Cord and Jack Miller who are the ones taking advantage of that. Get the text 614-350-3315. News and analysis before, after, and during the game. Ohio State against Akron Saturday night.